Hey, what's up, everybody? Okay, I guess my audio is working. All right, so I am just going to pick up where I left off from last time and try to get some more of these controllers configured. I have a list I thought I had right in front of me, but I had a list of what needed to be done on them. Oh, right here. So all of them need the trigger posts, which I got from Console 5, and Luke was also kind enough to send me one more uh, one more plus D-pad right here. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Luke. Pins, that should be pretty easy. And then, let me go through and see which one was which. So the clear one I had in my notes to replace the start button with the newer one because the start button wasn't working. So let's just start with that, get these controllers together, and then hopefully I could have time to do something like play some of those NES to SNES conversions, which are usually very, very controller sensitive. I've also had these cables or these controllers hanging since the last stream, like quite literally just hanging like I always show in my videos. And the long ones, I could only hang halfway and you could kind of see where they're still sort of creased. So I love it. I love that this is, the braided cable, nice and comfy, and they're starting to straighten out. So that's pretty cool. What else I got? Let me see if I could turn on some more lights. Hey, Lunar Shift. Yeah, I mean that's a really great thing to do. Is just throw these in, or throw the new cables in to get a longer cable on there. I think that's a good idea. And as always, let me know if my audio is all weird or anything like that. Now, for anybody who didn't see the first stream or who forgot about it, what I ended up doing with this is asking someone to. Let me make sure I get the name right. I always get everybody's name wrong. Andy. Shout out to Andy for sending me these PCBs that were of original Super Nintendo or Super Famicom controllers. So the PCBs themselves are 100% original and nothing else is. These are retro game restore shells that look absolutely beautiful. They feel just like the original. Very, very cool. And then I also have the braided cables from J&T Studio. And I'm also testing some brand new D-pad membranes that are also coming from J&T Studio, kind of like their NES ones. And on top of that, I am also testing out, hold on, let me get this thing out without breaking it. And I also have some from Console 5, just the generic ones, like this. And the problems that I ran into last time were the sack of screws I bought. I did not take my own advice and bought the world's cheapest screws. And almost every one of these controllers has a screw broken off into it. So I'm going to do something that I never ever do. Every time I unscrew the screws, I'm throwing them out because I'm losing pennies here, not more than that, but at the same time, the heads of these screws are so weak that I'm definitely afraid they're all going to break off. I wish Uncle Roger was here to yell, "You so weak." Great, John Zini. Yes, absolutely. 100% true. These membranes are really hard to get right. Calm Traveler. They just picked up some new old stock Super Famicom controllers and these same braided long cables since the Japanese controller cables are super short. Yeah, definitely. And, like I said in the last stream and in the podcast when talking about this, you could absolutely get cheap controller replacements, but who knows what quality they are. And that's kind of where the issue is with me is, are you going to spend the time to swap out a controller cable for one that's longer but might have issues, connection issues, cable issues, wear issues? And, you know, if you have the time to test, fine. You just unscrew it, pop the old one out, pop the new one in. The downside of these braided ones is you have to desolder the connector because these are proprietary from Nintendo and aren't made anymore. But J&T Studio, I have the originals that I saved here, and I have the new ones that they sent, and they send 2 in case you screw one up, which is excellent because they must watch my live streams. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth it if you don't mind the braided controllers. I think they're pretty cool, but that's up to everybody else. And you know, if you want a quality option. So in this one, this membrane was not working right, and it looks. Sorry, everybody, I'm getting really old. Let me take out the super zoom glasses here. And let me just see if there was anything on here that I could see. I mean, they're dirty. I definitely should have done a better job cleaning them beforehand. But let me just put in the brand new one I got from Console 5. And the brand new ones, you know, Luke from Console 5 isn't making these from scratch. You know, he's not dumping 50 grand into tooling for all of this stuff. But also, he doesn't, or a lot of times the accuracy doesn't need to be perfect. On the D-pad, it certainly does, but the start and select buttons, meh. And these buttons right here, this is, I think this is original, but they have I have 4 total controllers to do, and the other ones have the new ones, and they're totally fine on the button side, I think. So, Neil, you don't prioritize cost over quality. Sometimes, cheap DACs and stuff like that, when they were working, absolutely. Or, you know, stuff that you might not need to be perfect, but you just need to work it first. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. If you only played role-playing games and you just want to plug your SNES into your TV, you know, one of those crappy HDMI cables is fine. You don't need latency, and maybe you'll get a headache watching the flicker, but maybe you won't. I don't know. So yeah, it's to each their own. All right, I got the posts in. Am I on camera properly? No, of course not. Why would a stream of mine ever look right when I first start out? Kind of hard too because the Sony camera's viewfinder doesn't work when in HDMI mode for some crazy reason. But this is what I was missing last time. Posts that go here. You can see that. Yeah. Let me get these suckers in. Let me put this back together. And also, let me update my notes on this one so that I'll know, and I could go back and reference later. So all right, so I have this updated. This is stock membranes, but the J&T D-pad one right here. And that's, so basically this is stock. This is on camera. Yeah, that's stock. That's brand new from Console 5, and that's brand new from the J&T Studio prototype one. Right. A little loopy today. I had trouble sleeping last night. It's always happened to me my entire life. I have memories of being like probably 4 and 5 years old even, where I'm just staring at the ceiling like, what the hell's going on? How come I can't sleep? Okay. Yeah, those triggers are not only staying in place, but they're triggering a lot smoother because, of course, they would with the thing in it. All right, now because this is the braided one, you don't run it through the same type of strain relief. You just run it through that L-shaped relief right here. But as I showed in the last stream, and as I'm about to show again in this one, that is some excellent strain relief because of that rubber um, overmolding on there. Or an overmold is, I guess it's more like heat shrink tubing, but it's exactly what you would want. I guess I could kind of feed this through and rerun it around, but really, I'm yanking on this sucker, yanking harder than Voltar in the middle of the night, and it's yeah, that seems to be fine. So let me get a new set of screws again because I don't want to keep breaking them. I got my little screwdriver. I don't want to put too much pressure and break the heads again. See what we can do. Yep, links to everything are in the description right now. So if anybody wants to pick these up, they should be in stock. So this is at least the third time screws have been put into this plastic, so they should be tapped enough. I don't really have to worry. I'll do the thing where I turn it to the left once, or a couple, like you basically do counterclockwise until you feel it kind of set in place. And then you screw it in, screw it till there's tension, and then I'll go back and tighten them up based on how tight the controller looks. Okay. All right, so no separation here. Very little here. Let me tighten that down a tiny bit more. Up here. No, everything's good except for the side where the screw broke off. Let me just make sure this one's extra tight then. All right, way better. Actually, this isn't even separating at all, even though the screws broke off. So the other ones are compensating. I think that looks really cool. How about, let me make sure I'm getting this on camera properly. Yeah, I think this looks awesome. Everything feels great. This looks cool. Braided cable. Yeah, I like this a lot. This has the clear Super Famicom buttons that only came with the first run of these shells. The D-pad and that, and I like the concave ones better, but this just looks so cool. And once again, there's that rain relief right there. All right, so this one is done. And if I could hang this a different way to stretch this out until need a smaller room. All right, let's see what we got next. Looks like the purple one, another one with the Super Nintendo controller. And by the way, we could swap things around if anybody wants to. I think the clear one was excellent as is. I think all clear, everything is good. But let me grab the rest now so that we can kind of decide together what we want to put into which. So I get this one and the two shorter cables. Those have been hanging this whole time, and those stretched out really nicely. There's barely any creases left in them. This is definitely going to be very comfortable to use. So, okay, so here we go. I have red, I have these three colors, and let's try, and we have the extra pad there. Let me just put that there. And let's try to figure out what we think is going to look the best. Yeah. Any news about the D-pad? No, but I haven't followed up either because I wanted to follow up on the stream. Slightly shaky camera incoming. I just want to try to get a good angle for us. Mhm. All right, so let's take a look. Let's kind of see. So hmm, I think the red one would actually look better with the normal colored buttons and a standard D-pad. And I do think I have one more set of regular buttons, so we could decide from there. Maybe the purple one with the original buttons and the clear D-pad, or the purple one. Yeah, the purple one. Yeah, this looks. Let me get my my other light so you all can have a different angle of this, because I don't want to take these apart after we're done here. Uh, all right, so coming through okay? No, there. I don't know. Let me just get up on it and see. So that does look cool, but I think it would look cooler with clear. I think that one looks nice with that. What do we all think in the chat? I'm thinking the standard Super Nintendo purple buttons on the red and on the purple. And then I'm thinking this D-pad on the red and then clear and clear for these. And clear buttons on this one too. I'll give the chat a second while I'm kind of deciding what to do. Let me bring back the all clear one for a second, just because that just looks awesome. So. Yeah, that one is staying exactly the way it is. That just looks way too cool. I do think the purple on the purple, definitely. So let's just start out with the purple one, because I think that one's really going to shine with just the other buttons in it and putting the triggers in, trigger posts, whatever you want to call them. Check my notes for the purple one. Purple one says stock membranes, but J&T D-pad. Cool. That's really it. So I'm just going to pop that sucker open. And I'll pop this one open too, so I could swap the buttons around while we're still looking. That way we can kind of just see what we think. I'll be checking the chat every couple of minutes anyway, so if anybody has any questions or comments or sees me doing something real stupid, please speak up before it's too late. Okay, I'm gonna need a bigger screwdriver to remove that one. Oh boy, here we go. Let's see how many screws I break. There's nothing broken inside this purple one. Nice and easy. I'm gonna. How's this camera view? Is it too close? If I could, not a little more. I want to leave it this close and see what everybody thinks. If you think it's too weird or my fat hand's getting in the way, just let me know, and I'll back it to where it used to be, but maybe this will be a cool angle. Oh, please don't strip. I'm basically all hand. I'm putting that back the other way. Please don't strip. When it actually has all the screws still in it. If you're gonna strip once mostly out. Two more to go, and these are gonna be the trickiest. Break, please don't break. Okay. That's fine. I'll get that in a second. All right, last one. Fingers crossed, everybody. Please, please, please. All right. Got lucky there. I'll get these right in the garbage so I don't accidentally reuse them. Move this aside. You know, I guess, let me just check what I need. I might just open them all up. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best. I don't have to worry about mixing and matching because they're all the same color. Meaning the color of the triggers matches the shell. So I think this one we said we were going to try to do still clear, but with the purple buttons. See how that looks. I think that's a winner. How about you all? That looks like a winner to me. Check the chat. Hey, a random cast. Thank you for joining. Yeah, it's really me. See, definitely me. It's not AI generated me screwing up a stream. Ragnarok, I talked to Retro Gamer Store, and they wait, did I put these in wrong? I did put these in wrong. I gotta rotate them around. And Retro Gamer Store said they did figure out a good source for quality screws. So that's relieving. So hopefully they'll include those with the shells or offer them extra. I really don't think anybody would mind spending an extra dollar or something for that because it's just made a big difference. All right, so here, there. Try this again. Yeah, there we go. I like it. All right, let's keep working through this. I'll put some of this stuff back in just to make it so that everything doesn't fall out whenever I pick it up. I want to open the red one at the same time and check that one out too. Yeah, I like it. That's my vote for the purple. That's very cool. All right, I'll put that aside for a second. We'll try the red one. So, stupid question, but what does the little crown with the number 2 on it mean? The number 1. I don't understand. I don't understand. All right. Please don't break. Please don't break. Guess I'm going to be talking to the controller every time I do this. Oh. Okay, throw these screws out. Look into Easy Grip. It's a great paste to remove tight screws to avoid stripping. So I will look into that, but the problem with these were the screws were such poor quality that the head snapped off. Yeah, there's a lot of really beautifully made controllers you could find on Etsy, people who paint originals. And I'm a big fan of that stuff when done right. You know, when you take, especially when it's stuff like a controller that's, scratched, beat up, and there's not much you could do with it anymore. And next thing you know, you have somebody repainting them and doing a great job making it look cool. I just think that's absolutely awesome. Big fan of that stuff. Here. I'll open the smoke one too, so we can just do all this stuff all at once. I'm thinking I'm going to do the other buttons for these. Let me check my notes too. I think the only other thing was smoke one said, I left myself a note saying, check trigger pads to see if they're responding on the smoke one. So I'll check the soldering on this, and if everything looks good, I'll probably just replace it with the console 5 ones and see what happens. Um, who are you wants to know if they mind if I drop a seller name, no affiliation, just a fan of their work. Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, just don't drop the link because it'll get ignored by YouTube. That's not something I have any control over. Sorry about that. But if you drop the seller name, I think that people would appreciate taking a look. I don't mind plugging my friend Russ Lyman. I love his work. I've had him on live streams a bunch of times. Does some fun stuff. He's the one that did the Bloody Clear Genesis. I thought that was pretty cool. I really love what people do with the aftermarket clear cases because, you know, while you're, of course, allowed to do anything you want to do with whatever you own, whenever I see like near mint condition cases being cut up or painted or something, it just feels like such a waste. Whereas you get these brand new ones, that's what they're for. The replacement cases. They're supposed to make it so the community does what they want with them. I love seeing cool projects like that. Okay. Now, hopefully we won't need that screwdriver. We'll just stick with the little one. It's Sakura Retro Modding on Etsy. So yeah, cool. Anybody wants to check that out? Nacho Sonic, what's up? Do I know if there's purple cables coming up? I don't know. All I know about are the braided ones that I'm showing here, but that is kind of cool. All right, so the smoke one, I don't see any soldering issues on here at all. It's 30-year-old solder, so it's not going to be the most stable, but I don't see a problem. So I'm going to pull these buttons out, or these membranes out. I'll take a look at these. They look fine. So I'm going to put the replacement ones on. This one. Oh, the smoke one said console 5 membranes were on there. Interesting. All right, I'll just try different ones. Here. Go out carefully. And I also wanted to switch the red one over to a console J&T keypad membrane. All right. So this off. That back in the console 5 bag, and I'll get one more of the J&Ts. Their Retro Gamer Store said they're not sure if they're going to make the red ones at all. I think they look cool, but I think they'd have to sell more in order to be able to afford another production run like that. So we'll see. Got one more of these left. Let me see if I have any. So all of them will now have the new J&T D-pad, which is good. That way I'll be able to test the heck out of that. Let's see. I have some stock D-pads left. I need to switch them back for anything. Cool. All right, so on the red one, I wanted to try the purple buttons. They're currently in here. Screwdriver go. Ash, is that you? No, it didn't sound like you were marketing. It just sounded like you were just sharing something that you enjoyed and wanted other people to know about. Well, that's what I do for a living, so no shade thrown here for that. Absolutely not. Oh, try. Now, if we remember last time, these buttons go very specifically in their own spots. So if any of them don't feel like they drop in just right, they're in the wrong spot. Yep. Okay. About. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Here on the smoke. I like that. Let's see how it looks in the red though, and see if I guessed wrong for that one. Check the chat too. What's up, Apocalyptic Minister? Yeah, OSSC is awesome. Oh, who are you? Thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate that. That's how it looks, right? Yeah, that's got to be how it looks. Oh, I don't know. That's going to be tricky. Chat, get ready to share your opinion here. Let me get the PCB and we'll see what we think. What do we all think of this? I think it's pretty cool. Do you think that would be better clear though? The purple definitely is the exact match I was going for. That's kind of a no-brainer. Let's check out this. All clear in the smoke. Geez, that's a tough one. No, these are the only buttons that I have access to. Hey, what's up, Cordy? Thanks for swinging by. I'm gonna be a little bit. I try to respect people's time as much as possible, but I don't want to keep pulling these controllers apart. So I'm going to just kind of chill here for a minute and see which one we think is the best. Shaky cam incoming. All right, let's see. So I think the purple one is exactly where it needs to be. It's just a matter of, does the red one get all clear buttons and the smoke gets the purple buttons and the dark D-pad? Let me throw the clear one back up here too, just to see, just as contrast. I can't imagine anybody thinking that this isn't exactly the way it's supposed to be though. That just looks too cool. Add this over. Down. More shaky cam. Sorry. Watching a Jason Bourne movie. That guy playing with controllers. Hmm. If the red one had gray buttons in it, it would have been perfect. That's very true. But for now, purple is the best. Yeah. I think the clear one's exactly where it needs to be. I think the purple one could go in any direction, but I just think purple buttons, purple controller, clear D-pad. It's just a matter of, do we think the smoke or the red? Do we swap them on the smoke or red? Let's swap them. Let's see what happens. Take way less time doing it now than after I screw all this stuff together. So. All right, let's see. Here, here. I'm not even going to do the turnaround until both are done, so we could just do the full reveal together. Okay. Put this in. That might be it. That might be it. Hmm. All right, this is going to be, I think you all were right. I think this is it. I think the red with the clear buttons is pretty cool. I also think it showcases Retro Game Restore's prototypes and stuff like that. I think this one just matches and looks great like that. And then, of course, we have the purple with the clear D-pad and purple buttons. Gee, I wonder if I have a friend that likes purple that might want this one. Don't worry, I'll send it over. And then the all clear one is obviously awesome. All clear and works great. So yeah, I think that's how that's going to go. I think that's a good match here. Anybody have any other thoughts before I start screwing these together? The Elliot, full screening the video and popping out the chat on YouTube and always on top. Yeah, it's funny when I do these streams, I have to have my OBS window layered exactly on top of the YouTube window in a way where it blocks the video. Otherwise, I'm looking at myself, a minute behind. And I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally looked at the YouTube window and been like, "Oh, am I frozen?" No, wrong window. All right, I'm gonna put the clear next to it as well with a back off, just because I want to see them all matching like that. So let's see, let me pop this off. Um, who are you? Yes, if you check the my YouTube channel, I got the room tour from a little while back, and it's changed quite a bit, but the general gist of it is still there. Because this, I wish I had a mansion with a room for everything, but this is a home theater slash either office slash guest room slash. I mean, we use it for a gazillion things because you do when you don't have too many rooms. But better than my New York City apartment, where the living room was essentially my office that we also used as a living room. It wasn't working from home. It was like living in an office. All right, I think this is it. So I'm going to start putting these together. I think we're going to do the red one because it's got the. I think the ones with the Super Famicom buttons, we're going to do the Super Famicom cables for. So let's get that put together. This should be like 10 minutes tops for everything. And then as soon as that's done, I'll fire up some games and see how these things perform. We'll go from there. Thanks again to Luke from Console 5 for coming through with that D-pad and sending over these all of these posts that I forgot to buy last time. Always makes me feel like a moron when I spend more in shipping than I do on whatever it is that I was buying, but you know what? That's not Luke's fault. That was mine. Here. Oh yeah, let me make sure I put the triggers back labeled correctly. I've done that before. Left. Did I do that right on this one? Did. Okay. Right. Oh, and I'm going to end up with a set of clear buttons here too. So actually, before I put those back, does anybody think that the purple or the smoke should have clear? I think the way we did it is pretty much going to be perfect for what we're doing, but I am all ears for anybody's opinions on these. Hey, what's up, Abram? So for anybody who didn't see the last stream, you need to desolder and replace these because the originals are proprietary. However, it's not a big deal at all. And in fact, I would say it's pretty much a perfect beginner project because of how easy it is. I got all the membranes in, everything's plugged in. I don't want to do this multiple times, so. Good strain relief, everything looks good, everything feels good. How is my screwdriver? Oh, over here. Okay. That's just the empty box, right? Yep, empty box. Okay. Oh, is that where the screw's stuck in? Yeah, probably. Hold on, let me switch my glasses again. Jeez. No, I think I was just getting it at the wrong angle. There we go. I think the best thing to do is to screw these in until I feel tension and then go back and tighten them all to make sure lined up properly. You don't need to make them super tight. You just don't want this seam separating while you're using it. trying to feel that tension. Whenever I feel that head start to, oh, try to not tighten it too much. I don't want to break any other screws. All right, that's solid. Solid. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. So red one. I'll show them again before we. I'll show them again next to each other before we move on. But let's just go with this for now. Check the chat too, real quick. Okay. What happened to the smoke one I just had? Is that it right here? Yeah, right here, right in front of me. Oh, smoke and purple are there and there. So I guess this one has the Super Famicom cable, so we'll just do that one next. Or has the Super Famicom buttons, so I'll add the Super Famicom cable, and then we'll do the last two. That way everything kind of matches and makes sense. And I'm going to hold on to these controllers for a little while, so even if I don't get too much time to play games on stream today, I should be able to swing by and do another one at some point relatively soon, just to keep it all going and keep testing. Oh man, that one does look gorgeous though. Am I still sort of on camera at least? Yeah. I'll check the chat every couple of minutes, but if you have a suggestion for the camera angle, this Sony camera I'm using I like for a lot of reasons, but the viewfinder is a pain in the butt. I don't remember how to turn it back on, or if I even can if it's outputting HDMI. I think you can't if it's outputting HDMI, but you know, who knows? Might be one of the ones that's in there. Yep. Yeah, crap. All right. Okay, clear one's all set. Damn, that one still looks really good. Really good. You have that clear Super Famicom shell. Oh boy, that is just a perfect match. Did I ever ask Randy Linden what bleem means? No, I didn't even think of that, to be honest with you. I'm not the world's greatest interviewer, but I do love doing that stuff. Do the Random Kaz say, I like how we turned Bob. Turned me into what? A Linux user? Y'all keep trying. No, I'm kidding. Kaz said, I like how we turned Bob's chat into a Linux chat for me and Elliot. I'm not sure how I'd be able to interview Randy again, but I would like to see him at expos. I wonder. Oh, wait, wrong one. Put the purple one on the smoke. I think he'd be a pretty cool draw at an expo. I don't know about you all, but if I was going to an expo and I saw that he was going to be there, I would, without a doubt, make his panel. Okay. So because the Super Nintendo ones are longer, I could wrap this around, but I don't think it's necessary. I think the shrink tubing and I think this on the back of it is really all you need. I'm very happy with that. Me. Yeah, you all were right. That's the right choice. Without a doubt, that's the right choice. Good call, chat. Good call. For anybody just joining or unaware, the reason I'm going so boringly slow with this is because I'm still just using up the cheap, crappy screws I had, and the heads broke off very easily. So that's why I'm using the small screwdriver, not a power screwdriver. Why I'm bringing them in painfully slow, because I don't want to. These are beautiful. I don't want to screw these up. At least one of these is going to go to a friend too, anyway. So. Okay, I can to tighten this one down a little more. Too, I felt that wiggle. All right, let's try it. This side, solid. Bottom, solid. Top, not coming out apart at all. This side, barely moving even though the screw is missing. Well, y'all were right. That one looks really cool. Check the chat again. Any recommendations for quality silicone pad replacements for original NES, SNES, and Dogbone controllers? NES, Retro Gamer Store, J&T Studio actually has them. So if you follow the link in the description, that same store has the NES ones. What's up, Game Metal? Who are used also on the hunt for a VGA add-in compatible 4x3 Luba. Those are awesome. Those are absolutely awesome. I really like those. All right, final one, the purple. Membranes in. Apocalyptic Minister is getting ready to set up their one chip to the OSSC. So honestly, if you just plug it in with a SCART cable and go, it's going to look great. But if you do load up the custom timings and take the time to set phase, it's going to be crazy sharp. The only problem is you go to 1080p 5x with custom timings on SNES, some TVs won't like it at all, TVs and displays, and others might work, but you won't be able to hear audio, or you get audio dropouts or something like that. So the downside and upside of the OSSC is it's technically not a scaler, it's a line multiplier, because it has no buffer in it whatsoever, which means you get 0 latency, and the image isn't changed in any way, in any negative way. But the downside is you're sending very weird off-timing retro gaming signals that were only ever designed to be used on a CRT to a flat panel TV that doesn't understand what those signals are. Some work, but not all. All right, let's tighten these down. Let's hope to not break the heads. Yeah, I like that one. Total win for the chat this time, everybody. Why I asked. Okay. Perfect. 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 Okay. Let me get these lined up so you all could see them, and then I'm going to throw a quick setup together and start playing. Your 65-inch LG isn't liking some of it? What year? Because my 2016 does not play with SNES, and it actually used to work, and then after a firmware update, it didn't. But my 2024 LG is perfect in all modes with all scalars, luckily. I have some spare SNES controller stuff left. I'll see if anybody local wants it. Maybe I'll just bring a bunch of this stuff to Retro World Expo, and I'll just have like a Bob's Boxo junk pile or something like that. So anybody who needs something might be able to just walk over and take a look and see. All right, let's get these all laid out one last time while I get an SNES. Apocalyptic Minister, it's a 2022. Huh, I'm kind of surprised by that. I would have thought that it would have been compatible. I'm assuming it's in game mode, right? And are you sending it 1080p 5x, 1080p 4x, 720p? Although 720p is iffy with those, so. Up, and then I'll grab an SNES. Yeah. This is very cool though. So I essentially did what I think is a great use for these, and I took PCBs from smashed up and unusable controllers and put them in brand new shells with brand new braided cables, and reused some buttons, used some other aftermarket buttons, and I also, every one of these now has the new J&T Studio prototype D-pad. That's what we're going to test when I set this SNES up. Thanks for swinging by, Qwerty. Power supply. I have SCART cable. You know we're going to be tinking here. No doubt. We're doing retro tink. Why don't we do the CE today? Because it's on the top of the pile right here. Tink CE. I'm going to do a one-chip SNES with an FX Pack Pro, which I am now realizing I need to put those NES to SNES conversions on them, so I'll need an extra moment for that. Sorry. So it likes 2x and 5x, but doesn't like much else. That sounds about right. I did that whole video about why I think 5x is the best choice, though, and I still stand by that. The only difference would be if you're using the RetroTink 4Ks, it would be technically 10x, or it would just be the, why am I drawing a blank here? Or because of the way the Tink 4K does its scaling, you could just fill it top to bottom using its auto zoom, and that's another great way to do it. But I usually go for the Firebrand X palettes and go from there. All right. I want to do Castlevania, and I want to do Mega Man 6. And yes, I do realize Castlevania has the rumble support, but that's not what I'm going for. Trying these D-pads and what happens. I did try these new D-pads on the rumble controller, and it was kind of terrible. But you have to remember, the rumble controller is built all from scratch from a completely different company. So it's one of those things where it's like, you shouldn't expect one to work on the other. Whereas these replacements that you're seeing on screen now are completely and totally all meant for original parts that can be swapped back and forth between original stuff. Mega Man, let me grab Castlevania 2. I mean, let me also grab Castlevania. What's my perspective on the retro gem? So I kind of have some strong opinions on that, but it basically comes down to if that's the best solution for you, it's the best solution, but it might not be the best solution for you. Like a useless freaking answer to you, I know. I'm sorry, I gotta apologize, but it's the truth. So, like, let's just say all of the consoles that you own already output HDMI, or maybe you have like the analog versions of retro consoles, stuff like that. Um, and you have one console left that needs a scaler, but it's also supported by the retro gem. Well, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. It would be cheaper overall to just to have that done for you. So I would, that way you plug it right into your TV. You're just using HDMI. You don't buy a scaler, unless you needed a scaler for other stuff. Let's say you love VHS and Laserdisc and old DVDs and so there's a scenario where that's definitely a win. If you're somebody who analyzes video and you need pure direct digital connections, cool. If you got big pockets, deep pockets, and you just want the cleanest output of everything, also cool. But for your average person, especially with like PlayStation 2, just simply getting a HD RetroVision cable is all you need. And combine that with a Tink 5X or 4K or something. So I like them. I don't have anything bad to say about them. I don't think they're the right scenario or the right solution for every scenario. It isn't an insult or a compliment. It is what it is. Random Kaz is going with the GBSC for now. Awesome solution. Oh, cool. You ended up locking into a LG 1080p screen with low latency. By the way, everything's just extracting to the slow-ass micro SD card, but it's working fine. Almost done. Actually, while I'm waiting for that to extract, let me plug this crap in too. Yes. And all right. As much as this stream's about these controllers, I got to get them out of here now in order to to set this up in a way where it's usable. And I'm going to start with that smoke controller because I had in my notes that there were issues with the triggers. So I want to try that out right away. Smoke controller. Connect that to the Tink. I'm running this through my Live Gamer 4K, so I'm just doing pass-through this absolutely gorgeous monitor that I'm still borrowing. Thank you again, Destiny, for letting me borrow that. And here. Need power for the Tink, and we're almost ready to go. Yeah. Keycard's ready. What about a classic AVR into a retro Tink? Would that increase latency or lag? So, if you're talking about old school AVRs that are like, let's just say composite in, composite out, component in, component out, and they do not support scaling of any kind. If they're simply whatever the signal you get in, you get out is, that should be fine. But if it's any kind of modern scaler where it's analog in, digital out, it's essentially got that same garbage circuit in there that you get in like the pound cables and stuff like that. So that would be an absolute hard no for that one. But you know, testing with a lag testing device is the only way you're going to know for sure. But I'm pretty sure if you're just passing analog signals through and nothing else, it should be totally fine. And if it's a decent AVR, there shouldn't be signal degradation. Yeah, but you never know. You got to be careful because you also have to remember with analog signals of any kind, the more that you, the more things you add to the chain, the more chance of the signal going bad. So whether it's something that you could actually see with your eyes or not, that's, you know, who knows. But all right, I got all this set up. Be right back. Need tequila and food. Sounds like me all the time. Tequila's not my favorite, but I appreciate it very much. Okay, power on. On screen so I could, yes. Burn and test cartridge. Okay. Let me switch over to this view right here. All right, I think we're good here. Well, a random CAS, any analog to digital or reverse, could potentially just be DACs or ADCs. Doesn't necessarily mean it's processing the image enough or to do any kind of lag or to add any kind of lag. However, all that said, if it's claims to scale in absolutely any way, then there's just no chance of it not adding lag because AVRs were never ever designed for video games. That's why there's one like fancy YouTubers always got an expensive shirt, got like $100,000 worth of audio equipment behind them, and reviews AVRs. And the one time a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you should check this out." You know, he looks confidently in the camera and he's like, "Yeah, and because these have analog inputs, that means you could use them with retro consoles." Like, oh, so you're full of shit. So you got a lot of money to spend and look like you know what you're talking about, but you just don't. Okay, lesson learned. Thanks, bud. You know, it's kind of rude for me to say that, but it's also completely true. So whatever. Yeah, the Tink 4K, I have the CE and the Pro because I need them both for testing. Um, I will admit that I probably wouldn't have bought both. I would have just bought the Pro, but I definitely would have bought the Pro. Like if if I didn't do these reviews and didn't work and develop on them, like I would 100% still have bought that, even if it was just for movies. To be honest with you, it just nobody approaches movies this way. Nobody cares. All right, controller test: up, left, down, right. Yeah, the triggers are weird. The triggers on this one are not perfect. So that might be the trigger membranes. All right, let me try another one. Let me try another one, and I'll get back to fixing those at some point. I won't do that on this stream. You all have sat through enough. Let me try the purple one. This one's probably the one going to a friend first. So controller test. Yeah, this one's perfect. Start's not perfect on this one. Hold on, let me see. Let me check my notes here. Purple says stock membranes, J&T D-pad. Well, maybe I will have to open this back up. I got about an hour before I got to go. So select works perfect. By the way, it says fail just because I took too long. But select is perfect. Start isn't perfect. Fine, but it's not perfect. Triggers are. Buttons are. D-pad is. So we'll come back to that one. So new notes. Start is weird. We test the other two, and then we'll actually get to playing a game. And no, not the 240p test suite, surprisingly enough, even though that is by far my most played game of any console. Get the clear one now. Clear one is stock membranes. Well, they all have the stock button membranes, J&T D-pad. And this one I replaced with the Console 5 Start membrane, and it is super responsive. Way better. Triggers are both good. Yeah, that one's totally fine. Nothing needed there. Let me try that red one now. Try to play some Mega Man. And I'm not going to go to try to beat the game today. I just want to just see how it feels. Because those NES games can be very unforgiving. Oh, red one, right trigger is weird. And that's another one with the Console 5 membranes. Yeah, right trigger. Left trigger is perfect. Right trigger is weird. I wonder if they're not sat in right. Let me give it a good whack. No, I think that trigger membrane isn't the greatest. All right, well, I guess I'm playing with a clear one because that one, everything was basically perfect. And I really want to see the D-pad here. I should probably have a way to listen to this audio, huh? Let me grab my headphones. Don't remember where they are, sadly, but it's only gonna take a second. Let me know, can you hear any of this? Wait, I just turned the volume up. Let me know if that volume is a decent mix or if I need to change anything about that, please. Oh, good. I found my old Audio Technics headphones that I used to use for mixing albums. When I was in the apartments, I couldn't exactly have my studio monitors blaring all the time. See. Plugging that in. I got Hear Me. Okay, is this too loud? Is this... You turn it up a little bit more. All right, Mega Man. Yeah, let's do the Firebrand X one. All right, thanks, Elliot. Let me know once again if I need to tweak this at all. Oh, if anybody knows anything about this game, let me know. Kaz, yeah, if you saw my Doom stream, you know how not true that is at all. Oh, select is the palette. Oh, very cool. Ooh, I like this one. That's probably more accurate, though. I'm loving the different palettes. I'm gonna use this one because whatever. And also, I mean, it's me. You know what we gotta do. Sharp 10X, baby. Cool. If anybody knows anything about this game, where I'm supposed to go, etc., please let me know. I got nothing. Mega Man could shoot electronic missiles out of his hand, but he can't duck. feel anything wrong at all with this D-pad. I'm playing, but not the D-pad. Let me switch to a different level. Does anybody know this game? Like, does anybody like the last couple times I did these streams with Mega Man games, people were able to say, "Oh no, go to this one first, start with that, go to that one, etc., etc." It was all very helpful. Try this soundtrack and see. AV Famicom with the RGB blaster is very easy to quote unquote install, and it performs really well. I like that. But it's not just about, I mean, you're totally right. It is the ease of getting RGB out of NES games just by plugging it into it, you know, plugging a ROM cart into a Super Nintendo, but it's not just that. The lack of sprite flicker, and there's a ton of reasons why this is just better. Oh, I guess I should have grabbed that, huh? Uh-oh. So 2 mini bosses in the same stretch of the same game. Oh, I get it. You bounce on them multiple times to do that. Got it. I'm gonna quick reset and try this again with the FBX MSU1 soundtrack and keep going with this D-pad because everything here feels great. So some of these NES to SNES conversions using Membler's sound emulator, you can hear the difference. And it's not enough to really bug me a lot, but you can hear it. But that's the point of like the FBX rips here. These are uncompressed rips of, I think they had to be converted to compressed, but that project that I talked about a couple weeks ago. Like, listen. Anybody who wants to go back in the stream, you could definitely hear the difference. Because this is exactly what the best version of the NES with the best quality audio output would have been. Nope, but if you just search the website for Mega Man 6 or the developer Infidelity, you'll be able to download it for free for use on FX Pack Pro, Mister, or really any emulator or FPGA solution. The problem with making repros of this is a lot of them rely on expansion chips and stuff. So you could technically make repros of this, but you'd have to cannibalize another game that uses those chips, which is just kind of cool, but also not cool. Use the booster? Oh, I forgot this version even had that. Thank you. Huh. Aw, that was a cheap shot. Thank you for telling me about the booster. Totally forgot. Actually, I don't even think I remembered this one had it at all. I definitely didn't play these as a kid. I actually think I killed him faster just shooting regularly. Huh. Oh, oh, I almost screwed that one up. Ah. These later Mega Man games are always so much more frustrating than the first couple. I'm not saying the first ones weren't frustrating, but it feels different. But hey, this port is pretty excellent. No slowdown so far, right? You know what? Let's switch over to Castlevania. This is annoying me. But I have no complaints whatsoever with this D-pad. We could try Super Metroid just for a minute as well. All right. I never played this as a kid. Why do you think they came up with the idea of whipping candles to get hearts? What was it to cycle color palettes on this one? Yes. I didn't know Rumblements put that in. That's funny. I enjoy that. Virtual. Oh, that's really great. I like that. Oh, let's leave this for a minute. Ah. They're not hearts. They're the life essence of the bees who made the candle wax. That's very funny. All right, so just because we're talking about controllers and stuff here too, let me unplug this and plug in the Rumble controller and see how I think that compares to this J&T D-pad. Okay. Rumble is very cool. Subtle in a good way. Baron, this is a, I'm using the FX Pack Pro, so I'm able to use this on original hardware. And the developer Rumble Mints just programmed that into this version. And I think that is an awesome, awesome feature. This controller is not bad at all. And in fact, it's certainly better than some of the garbage D-pads I've bought over the years in original SNES controllers. I think the other one is a little better though. Leave this one on for a minute. Oh, awesome, Felipe. Yeah, it's worth every penny. And the developer Akari is awesome. I interviewed him a while back. These orchestral soundtracks are cool, but I kind of, I want to put it back. Ah, wrong button. Just that one. I think I liked that one the best. What do you all think? Now remember, I didn't play this as a kid, so anybody that grew up with this game is probably mad at me right now, like, that's not what I heard on my NES. And you're right, but... All right, it's time for some Super Metroid. I'm going to do the Sam Miller pack because that's the way to play it now. would I have put that in? Gotta be it. Where am I in this? Not in Turian. If I'm right at the... Oh, no. Back. Up? No, back. We'll just do this one. So I'm still on the Rumble controller, and I want to play with this for a couple of minutes and then switch over to the one that we were just using. The Rumble controller is absolutely not bad at all. And I wall jump. I purposely don't play this game often because I love it. So when I play it, I want to really sink into it. That's why I never use it for testing, and I never use Zelda for testing other than the Link shot. Obviously, I use that all the time, but all I do is load up my save, take a picture of him in his house, and then walk around the lake, and that's it. So I'm certainly not ruining this for me. All right, wall jumps, totally fine. Let me switch back to the other controller with the D-pad and see if I like it better, worse, or the same. This is with the upcoming J&T Studio D-pad. Okay. Fall back here. I feel like, I don't know if it's just in my head, but I feel like I like J&T one better, but I don't know if it's because the controller feels exactly like a Super Nintendo controller and the Rumble one is a tiny bit bigger, obviously to compensate for the Rumble motors. I don't know. I think I like it. No, Elliot, your good conversation is always welcomed. Period. End of story. And I agree. I mean, you know, there's that story about, I don't know, one of the Paul brothers, when they did the video about those colorblind sunglasses, which turned out to be complete and total scams. And years later, whichever one was, they were asked, like, what's the worst video you ever did or the biggest regret? And he was like, yeah, I did those colorblind glasses and I put them on and they were trying to get my reaction and there was no change at all. Everything looked identical. He's like, I didn't know what to do. They paid me to do this. They flew me out there. So I just was like, wow, great. And I remember that story because I feel like that's so many people who are just trying to figure out what to do on YouTube. You know, they think maybe I'm good at one thing, so I'll just give my advice on everything, or, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I gotta fake it. And a lot of people end up finding their groove, and a lot don't, unfortunately. But so yeah, I try to never be that person. I've absolutely made stupid mistakes, and especially when I first started out. But Couldn't imagine anything other than honesty being the right way to do it. Especially when I screw up during these live streams, because that's like the whole point, right? I'm supposed to make these mistakes so you don't. All right, well, I can tell you with certainty oh, you know what I want to do? Hold on, I just remembered something here. Hold on a second. I am gonna go get one of the Super Nintendo controllers that all original, that I stopped using because the D-pad got old and weird on it. Oh, I think this is gonna be a really cool way to end this stream. All right, let me put this stuff over here. Oh yeah, I can't believe I didn't think of this before. All right, I got an original Super Nintendo controller that I stopped using a couple of years ago because the D-pad wasn't as good as another SNES controller that I was using. Yeah, actually, let me grab both of those. All right, perfect. Here we go. I'm accidentally crashing my controller box here. Let me get excited and started yanking at cables. Let me put this back a little nicer so I don't just trip and fall on these things 5 minutes from now. And I would be off camera, which would make it a complete and total waste. I don't mind if people yell at me if we all get to see, or laugh at me if y'all get to enjoy it together. But falling over off camera, not cool. All right, so here is the controller. It's an original Super Nintendo controller, and it's the one that says Nintendo on it, not Super Nintendo. All right, so here's the one that I've been using that was good. Feels about the same. I feel like the new J&T one, I feel like that one is a little bit more sensitive, but that could very well just be that it's because it's brand new and needs to break in, and that also isn't a bad thing. Not necessarily a good thing either, but whatever. Can you wall jump up this thing? This really is one of my, I mean, it probably is my favorite game of all time. Zelda's great too, A Link to the Past, but I don't know. Hearing this soundtrack too and everything, it makes me want to just stop everything, pull out a PVM and start playing. Oh, interesting. I don't know if it's because I'm trying to avoid this guy right here, but okay. I was gonna say I wasn't having as easy of a time doing the wall jump on a controller I was liking. Oh, this is cool. Okay. So now let me switch. So that was the all original Super Nintendo controller. I think it was newer because it said the word Nintendo on it, not Super Nintendo. Does anybody remember why they switched them up like that? Not. Or when, maybe? Oh, check this out. This is the controller that I used to use that I had to stop because the D-pad wasn't working as well. All right, I know what we're gonna do now. I am going to leave this I'm going to leave this on this screen. I'm going to grab a screwdriver and put a brand new J&T D-pad in this controller and see what we got. It's my last one. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered to do this. This is like the ultimate test, because you all just saw the limited run games rumble controller worked totally fine. It wasn't my favorite, but I would, like, if that's the only controller I had to play Super Metroid with, I would be totally fine with that, no complaints. And then the brand new, quote unquote, brand new controller I just played, that was my favorite so far, tied with the official Nintendo controller, because it essentially is exactly that. And then as soon as I dropped down to this one, that's when I immediately noticed that there was a difference. This is the perfect test right here for the J&T one. I'm gonna make this very quick so I don't have to, you all just wait here. They switched to the Nintendo controller with the SNES Junior. Thank you very much. That was my guess, but I didn't remember and I didn't just want to sound like an idiot. Okay. PCB is out. Oh, out-ish. I gotta, okay. Going to. I don't know if this is an original membrane. It looks a little too clean to be an original membrane, but we'll see. But I did use it for a while before this. Unless my controllers got messed up, unless I had one that looked identical and was just as yellowed and gave that away by accident and kept this one or something, that's certainly possible. I mean, that's definitely possible, but either way, we have a perfect scenario of this was a controller that live on stream, I was very clearly not able to perform as well as with the other one. So let's see if this D-pad does it. Okay. Almost done already. Missed an hour's deep discussion on braided cables. No, I'm not that boring. I guess that is something else I should mention. I didn't even remember I was using a braided cable until you just made the joke. So I think that's a very valid point, though. If I don't feel a difference, then it's not taking away from the experience at all. And that just means that it's just a durable cable if you like braided style. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, we have the same controller, the J&T D-pad, that I was just having trouble with. Oh, okay. Well, if that's not a good amount of proof for you. So, how about that? That's very cool. That is very, very cool. So I think we have ourselves the D-pad we've all been waiting for. Let me try a different game real quick. I wonder what we think would be a good game for this. I got a couple minutes before I gotta go. Let me go back through my notes real quick. So the purple one, I need to just swap out the start button, but I'm not gonna do that on stream because I need different trigger membrane. Figure that out. So yeah, I guess I'll do that next time. I probably won't do that on stream, but remember the triggers were just the generic ones that I got. I'm terrible at this game. I was just trying to think of one that I could use the D-pad a lot in. It is moving about as fluid as anybody could possibly expect it to. And this is an all-original SNES controller with the new J&T D-pad. And once again, I don't remember if the one that I pulled out of this was original or a third party, but I don't really think it matters for this. I think all that actually matters is that I was not able to wall jump with what was in there now, or one in there before, and I am now, so. I will follow up with J&T as soon as the stream is over and see when they plan on putting them up for sale. Pretty brutal game. Yeah, I'm terrible at this. All right, I'm gonna, I guess, try one more, but I mean, let me grab, you know what? Where's the one? Let me see. Red says right trigger weird. I'm gonna grab that red controller, and I'm going to try F-Zero. And I'm gonna make sure to be heavy on the triggers, and see if it's something that I could only really notice during the test program, or if it's gonna mess with actual gaming. And then we'll call it right after that. So any questions, if anybody has anything, let me know right now, please. But I'd call this a complete success. Yeah, the right trigger sucks. Left trigger's fine. So if you press the right trigger in the corner, like over to the side, it totally works. But if you press it on top, it mostly doesn't. Whereas all the rest of them, it doesn't really matter where you press the button, it works. All right, so you know what? Let me, since I have a couple more minutes, any questions you have, I'll answer now. I'm gonna pop this open and just see if there's something I could do to fix that and try. I'll just give it one try. Because who knows, maybe these trigger buttons, because there's two controllers now that I've had, 2 or 3 that have had issues with them. So maybe it's just something as easy as, oh, they just need to be rotated into place or something. I don't know. I did, Felipe. Yep, that was what I did at the other part of the stream. Shout out to Luke from Console 5 who sent me those. I bought those and then he sent me a D-pad as well for the one controller that was missing the D-pad. So thank you, Luke. Much appreciated. Oh, thanks, Apocalyptic Minister. Nice. All right, let me wiggle this out. So I don't see anything. Hold on, let me put like all 7 of my glasses on. Actually, you know what? Let me put on the super zoomy things and look in real close. No, these fell in basically identical. So, you know what? Let's swap them. We're gonna get nerdy. Let's just do it. And if the problem follows the pad, then we know exactly what it is, or if we get anything different, it's just the pad is inconsistent. Also, the PCB was in all the way, so it wasn't something like the PCB was being weird at an angle or something like that. Okay. Got that. Everything is back in place. I am placing the back cover on. Take these super zoom glasses off, or I'm going to throw up from being dizzy. Screwing this in. Hey, what's up, Andy? So I believe this is the Andy that had donated these 4 PCBs. So thank you very much, Andy. You're the person who made this stream possible, because otherwise I would have just been taking the same PCB out of one controller and just replacing it with different parts. So thank you, genuinely. So with this, the whole reason I wanted to start this out is because I had a bunch of these cases that Retro Game Restore sent me for the controllers that looked beautiful. And J&T Studio sent me the braided cables, and then I got a couple of extra membranes from Console 5, and J&T also sent me their brand new D-pad membrane. So I was like, well, let me just get some used new PCBs out of completely smashed up controllers, so I don't have to cannibalize anything that wasn't already lost, and see how they perform. So they perform great. So thank you again. Problem followed the membrane. The membrane isn't good. Because now on the right side, no matter where I press, it mostly activates. And on the left, it's weird. So it was actually the membrane that did this. Yeah. All right, and just for fun, let me put that, or let me put the controller that was working fine back in, and this clear one. The clear one has the stock membranes. Oh yeah, night and day difference. Complete night and day difference. So I guess I need a couple of, well, let's see, what do I have here? So I need 4 of those, 2 sets, 4 of those clear, not clear, I'm sorry, I'm playing on the clear controller. I need 4 sets of the trigger membranes. 2 sets of the trigger membranes, 4 total. What the heck? I haven't even started drinking yet. Yeah, this is, sorry to give everybody epilepsy here, but I'm just trying to mess with the triggers. They are perfect. So you know what then? Let me see. If the clear one has stock membranes and the purple one has stock membranes, that should also be a an indicator. That purple one go. Right. Yeah, all right, stock membranes just lightly touching the triggers anywhere on this purple controller work perfect. And let me jump on the last one, which was the smoke one, which had the Console 5 membranes. Check those as well. By the way, not shitting on Luke. Luke's awesome. It's just Luke's trying to provide cheap solutions and good solutions. And when there's no good solution available, the only one's the cheap solution. So not throwing shade in the slightest. There's a reason those things are very, very, very cheap. Right trigger's doing the same thing on the other one with the console 5 set. But that said, the console 5 start button and standard buttons are perfect. It's just the D-pad and the triggers. So they're not garbage. They're just, you got to know what you're getting here. Yeah, the right one's flaking out. Okay. So that was awesome. That is exactly what I needed to know for all of this stuff. So thank you everybody for participating and sitting through probably not the world's most exciting stream. Thanks to Andy again for sending these. I gotta find some membranes for the triggers before I send these out to friends. This is cool. I'll leave this, I'm gonna leave the stream going just for a couple more minutes while I clean up in case anybody has any questions, because I know for a fact that there's weird delays with these streams. And because it's happened to me before. I jumped on Steve from RetroTech stream once just to troll and be an asshole friend, and I didn't get a response from him. And it was weird because Steve's got a good sense of humor, so he likes the banter. So I'm like, geez, he was reading the chat. I didn't go too far. And I refreshed the page, and that I commented like 5 minutes after the stream. I messaged him afterwards, like, hey man, I don't know if you saw that pop up, but that was delayed by a lot. That's why that was all weird, and I thought it was funny and everything. But yeah, that was so yeah, I always try to keep in mind that people watching could have a delay of up to minutes. So kind of the other reason I always leave the streams on while I clean up at the end, just in case anybody has any questions, has anything that I missed. Y'all heard me drop that controller. Oh, I should mark this one somehow that it has the new J&T. Yeah, the stream or the delay happens. I think it's partly on the streamer side, but I also just think it's something that happens when you log on to these streams. Because I don't manually put ads in mine, although I probably should if I ever have to go like wash my hands or pee or something, but I just don't. So I think that's the only time that I've ever seen when you're mid-stream that lag could get introduced. I think it's just when people log on, what they're doing, what they're using to do so, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna throw out that bad D-pad so I don't even think about trying to use it for anything else. And I got a box of stuff now I gotta figure out what to do with. It's probably mostly garbage. I do have a stock SNES D-pad here that Andy sent that might still be good, but honestly, after using that J&T, I don't think there's a need to. I think if I had to pick a complaint, I think, now the stream's over, let's figure out, I get a moment to reflect here. I have all good things to say. If I had to choose a complaint at all about the J&T membranes, it's that my gut is telling me that because they're brand new, they're going to be a little bit more sensitive than stock until they're broken in a couple hours or something like that. It did not bother me, and I adjusted immediately, whereas you all saw I couldn't wall jump on the other one. There was no adjustment period. The membranes just sucked. So that would be, if I had to pick a complaint, that would be it. But that's kind of like saying I've had the best cheeseburger on the planet, but I wish I had more. It's valid, but also not going to stop anybody from buying that cheeseburger. Thinking about burgers, because I got ground beef in my fridge, and I got a Blackstone griddle, and I got to make it before it goes bad, so I might be burgering later on this evening. Almost done here. Oh, Andy said the R button seems to often be a bit of an issue. Found that putting a very small cylinder over the nipple area of the membrane immediately fixed it. Gave it a snappy response feel as well. What do you mean by a cylinder? Can you explain that? I'll hang out and clean up some more while we wait, because that's certainly something I would want to know what you mean by that. Lost and Found, what do we all think about the new SNES Doom controllers with rumble feature? So I had tested it out here. I had it playing before and after the other stuff that I was doing, and I didn't like it as much. The D-pad, I didn't like as much. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Let me just say that when I was playing through all of these, it was totally fine. If it's the only controller I had access to, I would not complain about it. I would think it's, I'd be able to play Super Metroid enjoyably with it. But I did like the originals with the J&T membrane better. But I don't honestly know why. It could just be as simple as the new Rumble controller is a slightly different shape in size to compensate for the rumble in it. So that could be it. I could just be complaining because it's slightly different than the SNES controller size that I've always been used to my whole life. So it could be a complete BS complaint. I just don't really know. But either way, I think the most important point is that I'd be fine with it. I would be totally fine if that was the only controller I had. And I think the Rumble support was very cool. And I also think that Rumble Mince's implementation of it in Castlevania was great, because I think with stuff like Rumble, if you don't do it right, if you're a little too aggressive about it, it just kind of takes away from everything. Whereas if you have it so sometimes you maybe don't even notice it, I think that's less is more. Probably the best way to put it. That makes sense. All right, enjoy this very stupid side view while I just finish cleaning up the SNES and Tink and stuff, and I'll wait for Andy to respond, and if anybody else has any questions, and then I'm gonna bail. Go get more work done, eventually make myself a burger. I also, I might even be streaming tomorrow too, possibly, maybe, because I was able to borrow, not buy, I would love to buy, but to borrow a Pioneer Laser Active that I think would be very cool to play 1 or 2 Laser Active games. So I might try to do that as well. I don't know if no, I think I'm still streaming. Yeah, okay. Oh, Andy sent me a picture on Discord. Hold on, let me, Andy, what would that be? Like, what is that? It looks like a butt connector to me. And for anybody that doesn't know, that's actually a thing. In an ass is a thing. I gotta try to put these controllers someplace where I could stretch the cables out without dusting up the controller. Find some bubble wrap or something. Yeah, I got some bubble wrap right here. Could work. Cool. And also, Andy, with the with that fixed, was that with stock membranes or aftermarket? I'm gonna have chat and Word open so I could see. Oh, well, there you go. Camera fell. HDMI cord fell out. I think that means the stream is basically over. Andy, I'll wait for you to oh, wow. No, the HDMI port ripped out the side here. Okay, well, I think I'm just going to need a new cable. Oh, lucky guy. I think I just need a new cable. Okay, well, what a way to end a stream. This is, this is the first stream I've done in a long time that that nothing went wrong, and look what just happened. I ripped the HDMI cable connector out, which is, I mean, of all the things to break, I'm out $6. I'll survive, but always something. Can never have a stream without it. That is very, very funny. Well, all right, so that's what Andy was talking about. Just the end of a butt connector might do the trick. Keltail, fire away real quick, because I don't want people logging in or at the end of this just being a no signal thing, and then I'm out. So wait till next time. All right. Well, you all are awesome for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And I might see you tomorrow too. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see if Steve from RetroTech is streaming, and then I'll log on at the exact same time he starts.